Right now at 5, authorities in Carthage investigate a house fire they believe was caused by fireworks.
And it's a much calmer and cooler start to the day out there. Clouds will start to gradually clear out. It's going to be relatively pleasant. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, bikers in Joplin come together to celebrate our nation's independence and freedom.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Friday, finally Friday in the 4 states.
Friday, yes.
I know a lot of folks had some of their fireworks plans cut short last night.
Yes.
We did see some severe weather, but thankfully it didn't get too out of hand. I know it started raining and our neighbors were setting off fireworks until they absolutely could not once the rain started to roll in.
Sounds like the 4th of July spirit to me.
Oh, absolutely. I hope everyone out there had a safe and a fun night. And that way you can enjoy today. Let's start with a look outside from our camera on top of the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. You can see there's some daylight out there. There's also still some lingering clouds, but those will begin to clear out. Our camera 7th at range line looking fairly good as well. We are all dry this morning. And the MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. Pretty great start to the day out there. As we head into the afternoon, again, clouds are going to break up a bit. So we're looking at one of those days like the other day, variable clouds, partly to mostly cloudy skies, but we're otherwise dry. And while these temperatures are warm, they are considerably cooler than where we have been the last few days, and temperatures even this morning considerably cooler than where we have been. So we've got a northwesterly breeze, so the boundary push through overnight. Way back behind it, take a look at these temperatures, low to mid 60s, and then out here just not far behind where that boundary is, we're talking still some low 70s, but a much better start to the day than what we've seen here lately. It's not going to be nearly as muggy. It's still be a little humid, but not as oppressively humid as it had been. Again, variable clouds through the day, and our temperatures going into the mid 80s. We've got a pretty decent Friday for us, and then the heat starts to return out there. We'll have a full look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, see you soon. Fire crews in Carthage, Missouri Wednesday night battled a house fire that authorities blame on improperly disposed fireworks. It started around 10:50 p.m. on Island Lane west of Carthage. When crews arrived, they found fire and smoke coming out of the right rear side of the newly constructed home near the garage doors. By the time they began battling it, the fire had moved into the roof line and the family inside got out safely. Investigators say preliminary evidence shows the fire started because of fireworks in a nearby trash can, which caught fire. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. 4th of July celebrations continued in Carl Junction yesterday, and the city put on a 4th of July parade early yesterday morning to kick off Independence Day festivities. The parade began on Broadway and ended on Main Street. Those who wanted to participate in the parade were able to do so free of charge. Organizers say it's a great way to celebrate our country and those who serve.
Well, we just love to honor our veterans, the people who signed that blank check for their life and service to our country, and we want a way to celebrate that as a community and just get together and have a good time.
Spending time with your family, you know. Really enjoy the time here in Carl Junction, and it's just fun time.
Prizes for those who participated in the parade were also given out. Bike lovers in Joplin hung out at the Hideout Harley-Davidson dealership. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
And that's the sound of freedom according to Harley-Davidson in Joplin.
The American freedom and riding the motorcycle is your own personal freedom.
The Harley-Davidson crew wanted to celebrate Independence Day with hot dogs and bikes.
Today we're open on the 4th, which not a lot of Harley-Davidson dealerships are, so we're super thankful to be open today and serve our community. So we're offering hot dogs and just kind of hanging out with the crew, all that good stuff. We enjoy having people out and just hanging out with them.
According to the manager, Harley's been a part of American culture for more than a century.
Motorcycles, there's nothing more American than a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, right? They were established in 1903, so they've been around for a long, long time. Fun fact, Ford Motor Company was also started in 1903, so we kind of go way back, so it's nice to have that long-running establishment in the United States.
Most motorcycle lovers agree that revving on an open road is freedom.
It can be a little toasty at times riding in this hot weather, but as long as you're out riding around, you're gonna enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. I love going out and feeling the wind in my hair, and it's awesome.
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Hideout Harley-Davidson's 4th of July Grill and Chill ended at 2 p.m. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. It's another year of the annual hot dog eating contest. We'll have the details. Plus, a bull runs amok on the streets of Peru, causing havoc in the suburbs surrounding the country's capital. And we have a nice and sunny day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
The Joplin Outlaws are fighting for second place in the Mid-American League standings. Joplin spends their 4th of July evening battling in East Texas. Outlaws are in a bit of a slump, only winning 2 of their last 6 games, but they battle the Timberhogs for the final time this season. Lots of scoring in this game. Joplin Outlaws fall to the Timberhogs with a final score of 14-17. St. Louis Cardinals celebrate their Independence Day on the road this year. St. Louis is finally starting to create some separation for second place in the National League Central standings. Cardinals on the road taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates with multiple players dressed in their USA gear. Top of the second, no score. Dylan Carlson ropes this down the line into the corner. The throw to home plate is not in time as Donovan scores. Cardinals take a 1-0 lead after the RBI double. 4th inning. Same score. Brian Reynolds is going to hammer this one deep into center field. Clear the deck. It's a solo home run into the shrubs. Pirates even the score. It's now a 1-1 ball game. This game goes into extra innings, still tied at 1 apiece. Pedro Pegues sends a rocket into center field. That gets by the outfielder for an RBI double. Cardinals take the lead. Later in the inning, Alec Burleson drops in a single. That adds another run. St. Louis wins the series. Cardinals win 3-2 in extra innings. Kansas City wraps up their final home game before the MLB All-Star break. Royals look to win the series against Tampa Bay Rays. Royals keep trying to claw their way back into this contest, but they fall short with a final score of 8-10. In Wednesday night's Texas Rangers game, a fan gets a little risky to attempt to catch a foul ball. The fan jumped on top of the Padres' dugout and fell into the protective netting. Losing his beer and all, security escorted the fan out of the stadium after the failed attempt for a foul ball, but it was the Padres who convinced security to let the fan return to his seat. Well, nothing says America on the 4th of July like the Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest in Coney Island. The contest went on without Joey Chestnut for the first time since 2005. Patrick Bertoletti holds off Jeffrey Esper to win the mustard belt by eating 58 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes for his first career title. Still to come, we're going to see why the popular weight loss drugs have been linked to an increased risk of blindness. And get another check of that forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:14 now on this Friday, July the 5th, and we're starting with this really lovely shot from our camera on the Cornell Complex downtown Joplin. We still have some clouds out there, more variable clouds throughout the day, but otherwise it looks great, feels a lot better out there as well. Not bad from 7th and Range Line either. You can see the outline of some of those clouds this morning, and from the MoDOT camera, 32nd Range Line, looking all right. Again, the road's relatively deserted for now, but that will change a little later today. A lot of folks still have the day off. off, and so there'll be a lot of folks just out enjoying this weather. MoDOT camera down in Neosho also looking pretty fantastic. There's really not a lot to discuss on the future track over the next couple of days, other than we'll have the variable clouds today. We'll have a northwesterly breeze. We've got temperatures that are warm but considerably more manageable, and it'll still be a bit muggy, but not nearly as much as it has been the last few days out there. As we enter the evening and overnight hours, we will stay dry, we will stay clear, and we will be cool back down into the 60s. And as we head into our Saturday, sunshine, plentiful sunshine, and we also start to see the temperatures warm back up. You see that little swirl in those wind arrows? We got a little system that's going to roll through, not bringing us any rain, but as it pushes off to the east, the flow on the backside will shift those winds out of the south. That's why we're going to start to heat up as we head into our Saturday across the area. And by Sunday, we're going to again continue to see the warmer temperatures roll through. And then we could see a few pop-up showers or storms on our Sunday as well. In Joplin right now, it's mostly cloudy, 71. Dew point still at 66, humidity 84%. We got a northwest breeze at 3. Starting to sound like Patrick from SpongeBob there. Temperatures out in the northwest to get a little cooler. We've got some low to mid 60s, so a very nice start to the day comparatively. And then down to the south, still not bad though. Not into the 80s, anything like that. We've got low to mid 70s to get the day underway. As we go through the morning, again, variable clouds, so roughly partly to mostly cloudy, depending on where you are. Some of you may even clear out completely for a bit. It will be low 80s by 11 o'clock this morning instead of upper 80s or low 90s out there. Heading into the afternoon, again, our highs relatively decent, right about the mid 80s. We'll have that light northwesterly breeze and the variable clouds throughout the day. Skies begin to clear as we head through the evening and into the overnight hours. Just a few passing clouds here and there, and another nice pleasant one for us as we fall back into the mid 60s across the area. Heading into tomorrow, we're going to go right about 90, low 90s on Sunday. Those pop-up storm chances continue into Monday, and that does cool us down just a little bit, but it's another temporary cool down as we head into the end of next week. As you see, temperatures returning back to the mid 90s, and we've got pop-up storm chances as we head into next weekend as well. That's Check Your Forecast. We'll be back with more right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, the CDC is making a big push for COVID vaccines as dozens of states across the U.S. see a spike in cases. It comes as public health officials try to tackle another virus, bird flu. Halpern has more.
As millions of Americans head out for summer vacation, the CDC is warning of another nationwide COVID surge. New government data shows cases are on the rise in nearly every state due to the spread of so-called flirt variants.
And they come from like a sub-lineage of the Omicron variant called JN.1, and these are kind of the dominant variants that are circulating.
Doctors also say recent heat waves across the U.S. are keeping more people indoors. That leads to increased COVID transmission, and cases are expected to rise once again in the fall and winter. The CDC is recommending Americans ages 6 months and older receive an updated COVID vaccine, even if they have previously been vaccinated against the virus.
If you get infected in 1 year, you may have immunity against that particular variant, but 1 or 2 years down the road, if the virus has evolved enough, you may be susceptible again to infection.
As states battle another COVID surge, federal officials are taking steps to protect against another possible health threat, bird flu. The Department of Health and Human Services announcing Tuesday Moderna will be awarded $176 million in federal funding to develop a human vaccine against the virus. According to the CDC, bird flu was detected earlier this year in dairy cows and has since spread to herds in a dozen states. Still, federal health officials stress the risk to the general public remains low.
Popular weight loss and type 2 diabetes drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy have been linked to an increased risk of a rare form of blindness. That's according to a new study published Wednesday in the medical journal JAMA Ophthalmology. The authors found that about 10 out of 100,000 people taking semaglutide injections may experience the problem. It's a form of optic neuropathy that can result in sudden painless vision loss in one eye. The study was limited to a small number of patients from one specialized medical center. So experts note that this may not apply to a broader population and cannot prove definitively the medication causes the condition. The risk was found to be greatest within the first year of taking the medication, but even with an increased risk, the condition remains relatively uncommon. A federal judge has blocked the Biden administration from enforcing new anti-discrimination rules in healthcare for transgender Americans. The preliminary injunction out of district court comes just 2 days before the rules were to go into effect. The judge sided with the 15 state attorney generals who argued the Department of Health and Human Services overstepped its authority when it issued the rules. The protections were meant to prohibit health providers and insurers receiving federal funding from discriminating on the basis of gender identity. But the judge said the agency wrongly leaned on a 2020 Supreme Court ruling that said federal civil rights laws banning sex discrimination protects LGBTQ workers. The judge also cited last week's Supreme Court ruling that ended up weakening the power of federal agencies to approve regulations. There was a sprint to the finish line for some ballot initiatives in Nebraska Wednesday. Most campaigns circulating petitions for the November ballot had to turn in their signatures to the Nebraska Secretary of State's office that evening. Some of those initiatives include medical marijuana and abortion. John Grinvalds has more.
It was a day knotted with nerves for some.
Provide medical cannabis.
Rallying for support and signatures right up until the deadline.
We had a woman that came to a signing event a few hours ago, and she is on hospice, and her husband brought her, and she has 48 hours to live. And I think that can summarize the grit, determination, drive, and motivation of this petition drive.
Both petitions for medical cannabis ended with 114,000 signatures, well over the roughly 90,000 needed. For others, a day of triumph. Dozens packed in for a Protect Our Rights campaign update. The petition to allow voters to roll back the 12-week abortion ban and set a standard of fetal viability up to 24 weeks scored 207,000 signatures.
People are having to flee the state in order to get the critical care that we need. And so our goal, again, is to remove government out of these very personal healthcare decisions.
A dueling amendment petition that would set the current restrictions in the stone of Nebraska's Constitution got 205,000 signatures. We reached out to that group, Protect Women and Children, but didn't hear anything back beyond a general media release. For others, disappointment dominated the day, like the EPIC option, which set out to eliminate all property, income, and corporate taxes in the state. The initiative's champion says they fell short.
We need to take a little bit of a break. We're going to help see what we can do with the special session, work with some of the senators and try to see whether we can accomplish some things through the legislature yet this year.
Now it's onward to the threshing floor of certification, where between 15 and 30% of signatures could get tossed per petition.
Well, none of the campaigns are guaranteed to be on the November ballot. These signatures will spend a couple of days with the Secretary of State's office before going to county election officials for signature verification. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got ourselves a nice start to the day out there after some strong to severe thunderstorms last night. Got a fairly decent Friday, and the heat does return. We'll have another look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Right now at 5:30, Carthage residents came together to enjoy a full slate of activities.
And we've got a really nice start to the day. Check out that sunrise in Joplin. Much calmer day, somewhat cooler temperatures. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, we'll head to Southeast Kansas for a 4th of July event featuring a parade and a rodeo.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's just about coming up on 5:30. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. Finally Friday here in the 4 states. You have a good 4th?
You know, it wasn't too bad. Of course, I had to go to bed early, so I missed out on some fireworks so that I could be with you all this morning. But it wasn't too bad, you know. It was hot, but it wasn't
bad at all. It was pretty darn hot, and then unfortunately we did get some showers and storms last night. Did wrap up some of the celebrations a little early, but at least some of you did manage to get out there and hopefully celebrate safely. Unfortunately, the best weather we've got this week is today. Would have been nice if it was yesterday, but we don't control the weather. We just tell you about what's going to happen. Take a look at this beautiful sunrise, though, from our camera at 7th and Rangeline in Joplin. Looking back to the east, it looks absolutely gorgeous, and we've got a fairly decent day ahead of us. Not bad from MoDOT camera, 32nd and Rangeline in Joplin either, as we head into the afternoon today. Well, variable clouds similar to yesterday, so partly to mostly cloudy skies out there. But as we head later into the day and into the evening hours, those skies will begin to clear, and then we'll go mostly clear overnight. And our temperatures today will still be warm, but not nearly as hot as they have been the last several days. And take a look at these temperatures. Yates Center, 62 degrees to start the day. We've got low to mid 60s off to the northwest, and we go into the low to mid 70s a little further to the south and east, and we've got a light northwesterly breeze out there, so just a picture perfect day for June, which is nice because we haven't had many of those. Now, there will still be some humidity, some dew points up there a little bit, but it won't feel nearly as muggy as it has the last few days as those storms, thankfully used up some of that moisture last night. We'll have again the variable clouds through the day and start clearing out later in the evening. Highs today right around the mid 80s, so a little closer to normal. Unfortunately, though, the heat will return and some thunderstorm chances will return as we head into the weekend as well. We'll have a full look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, the city of Pittsburgh had a wide variety of events for our nation's birthday. Early yesterday morning, they had a 5K run, a fishing derby, and a pickleball tournament. Then a little later, they had a baby contest, a bocce ball tournament, and a $1 swim day at the Aquatic Center, all while arts, crafts, and food vendors were set up for people to enjoy.
It gives the community opportunity to come out for activities that are already planned. They don't have to think about what in the world are we going to do on 4th of July. It's already planned and it's inexpensive. A lot of our fees are less than $5 to go do the fishing derby or come to the baby contest.
The event also offered live music, and the annual city firework display was postponed due to the rain. And Pittsburgh residents will be able, or rather enjoyed them at 10 p.m. Well, folks in Hepler, Kansas had their own celebration yesterday. This was the second day of the Ruritan Club Rodeo. However, there were plenty of Independence Day themed events yesterday morning, including a parade, themed swimming through history, a cakewalk, and kids games.
This is an annual event, and I'm not sure how many years the parade's been going on, but the 4-H Club has been kind of in charge of getting it together every year. So the thought process is just to get people outside.
The rodeo kicked off at 8 p.m. with a fireworks display after that. Over in Carthage, residents had a full slate of activities planned yesterday. It kicked off with a 5K run and a free swim day. There were plenty of food vendors as well as face painting, karaoke in the park, and a watermelon feed.
Really want all of our events is everybody to take away good family fun, bring your family out, have a bounce in the bounce house, sing some karaoke, stay at 7 and start the band that we have.
The event was hosted in Carthage's Municipal Park. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Tokyo is set to elect a new governor this weekend, but the list of candidates and their antics are testing voters' patience. Plus, Israel and Hamas appear to be edging closer to a possible ceasefire deal. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch. We're learning more about what some say is a Russian disinformation campaign targeting the upcoming Paris Olympics. A report says Moscow's tactics are evolving, including the use of artificial intelligence to imitate a famous American actor's voice. Jillian Turner takes a look.
We have been working with the French government for some time to ensure a safe, secure Olympics.
The State Department says Russia is already trying to scare Americans attending the Paris Olympics this summer using disinformation warfare.
It's especially not surprising that they're doing it with respect to the Olympics, where their athletes are banned from competing under the Russian flag because of the Kremlin's long history of abusing fair competition in the Olympics.
Take a look at this deep fake of Hollywood actor Tom Cruise appearing to insult the International Olympic Committee overseeing the games. This fake press release warns the public of terror attacks in Paris this summer. And this fabricated news clip claiming nearly a quarter of Paris 2024 tickets have been returned due to fears of terrorism. All these forgeries created by an infamous Russia-affiliated influence actor known as Storm 1679. French President Emmanuel Macron sent out warning flares 2 months ago, telling reporters he had no doubt whatsoever Russia would try to ruin the Paris Games. The Russian embassy in Paris says the accusations are false. The Kremlin is echoing that message.
Such messages are simply sweeping criticism, which has no basis in argument or anything. It has nothing to do with reality. This is absolute slander and nothing more.
Well, bull runs amok on the streets of Peru, causing havoc in the suburbs surrounding the country's capital. Authorities say the bull was being transported on a highway in Santa Anita Tuesday when it broke out of the vehicle, charged at pedestrians, and knocked a cyclist off their bike. Witnesses described the scene as panic-filled, with passerbys running for cover while drivers tried to avoid hitting the animal. The bull was finally brought under control thanks to concerted effort of police and the bull's owner. Tokyo is set to elect a new governor this weekend, but the list of candidates and their antics are testing voters' patience. Campaign posters are showcasing wildly different visuals than what's typical. Some feature artificial intelligence characters, dogs, and even one candidate is showing off his golf swing. Candidates usually can rent out billboards to promote themselves, but this year non-candidates are taking up some space. A total of 56 people are running for governor, which is a record. But some of them are influencers or people doing it as a joke to get more exposure. Tokyo residents are annoyed with the pranks and have flooded election offices with calls. A cleanup begins in Jamaica after Hurricane Beryl barrels through the region. The Category 4 hurricane slamming the island Wednesday with heavy rains and winds wreaking havoc on the region. Cleanup crews doing their best to clear out the effects of the hurricane. Power also being knocked out for much of the capital city of Kingston. Nearly 500 people have now been placed in shelters. Beryl is now said to be headed toward the Mexican Caribbean coast. Well, U.S. citizen Robert Romanov Woodland has been sentenced to a Russian penal colony for a drug conviction. Woodland listened from a prison cage in a Moscow court as the 12.5-year sentence was handed down Thursday for his conviction on drug trafficking. His lawyer says the 32-year-old was detained in Russia in early January and partially admitted his guilt. Moscow's prosecutor's office said Woodland was part of a large-scale criminal group that transported a type of methamphetamine and outside Moscow to an apartment in the city where he packed them for sale. Romanov told a Russian newspaper in 2020 that he was adopted from Russia in 1993 by American parents and had returned to Russia to meet his biological mother. Well, Israel and Hamas appear to be edging closer to a possible ceasefire deal. The U.S.-backed proposal could see the release of the remaining hostages in Gaza. Trey Gingst has more.
As fighting rages on in southern Gaza, the diplomatic back and forth continues over a potential ceasefire deal. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaking with President Biden on Thursday, saying he plans to send a negotiating team to continue talks. Earlier this week, he said this is about Israel's plans for the war.
We will end the war only after we achieve all of its goals, including the elimination of Hamas and the release of all of our hostages.
The Israeli Security Cabinet also meeting Thursday to discuss Hamas's latest response to the proposal. The U.S.-backed plan comes in 3 phases, including a ceasefire and the exchange of 120 Israeli hostages, both dead and alive, for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners.
This is the way forward. This is the way to end the conflict in Gaza. This is the way to get the hostages home.
As Israel and Hamas inch closer to a possible deal, tensions are building on Israel's northern front. Hezbollah says it launched more than 200 rockets at several Israeli military bases in response to a strike that killed one of its senior commanders. The Iran-backed group now vowing to strike more targets in Israel.
Israel's having tremendous success down in the Rafah and Khan Yunis areas. Strategically, one of the things that geopolitics demands is that you divert attention away from where your enemy is having success.
Hezbollah has said it will stop its attacks if there is a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 5:45 on this finally Friday in the 4 states. We're going to take a camera tour through the area first, starting with ours on top of the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. We got a few clouds out there. Otherwise, a beautiful start to the day and a nice northwesterly breeze, so a little bit cooler. Another great view of the sunrise from our camera 7th and Range Line in Joplin. We're going to head a little further south to 32nd and Range Line as folks start to get their day underway. And a lot of folks probably still have a 4-day weekend, but means you also have more time to enjoy this beautiful day. And we're looking good down in Neosho as well from MoDOT camera at US 60, Missouri 59, looking back roughly to the west. Now on the future track, there's not a lot to show for the next couple of days other than some variable clouds today. They'll begin to clear as we head into the evening and overnight hours. And our temperatures, it's warm, yes, but it's considerably more manageable and technically even a bit below average for us today. As we head into our Friday, it's going to start to heat back up. We've got a system that's going to pass by, no rain, anything like that with it, but as it does, we're going to get on the backside of it, and those winds are going to start to shift out of the south, and that's what's going to help us warm up a little more as we head through our Saturday afternoon into the low 90s across the area. By Saturday evening, another relatively pleasant evening, just a few clouds here and there, and then as we head into our Sunday, so we see an opportunity for a few pop-up showers and thunderstorms, not anticipating any severe weather with any of this activity, but as you can see, we go through the day, they're going to be isolated to widely scattered pop-up showers and storms, and some of them could even linger into the late evening hours out there, especially in our northern counties as we head into early Monday morning. All right, let's talk temperatures. It's good. 71 in Joplin, mostly cloudy. Northwest breeze at about 3. Dew-point humidity, both still up there. It's still going to be a bit muggy today, but considerably more manageable again than yesterday. The boundary shifting to our south. Behind it, cooler temperatures rolling in off to the northwest, low to mid 60s to start the day. The cool spot still Yates Center at 62. And as you head a little further south, we're a little warmer, low to mid 70s to start our day. As we get our day fully started, if you're heading out this morning and maybe just enjoying some time outside, today's a great day to do it. Today's the best day we've had in a long time to just get outside and enjoy. Again, variable clouds through the morning, low 80s instead of low or mid 90s by 11 o'clock this morning. So again, much more reasonable. Our highs today aiming right about the mid 80s across the area. Again, with variable clouds across the 4 states today, and that light northwesterly breeze. As we head into this evening, we're going to see those clouds gradually begin to clear out. We'll have a few passing clouds overnight and another cool one for us as we fall back into the mid 60s for our overnight lows. And as I mentioned, we do start to warm up a little for our Saturday. Low 90s are right about. Low 90s again on Sunday, but pop-up storm chances both Sunday and Monday. Between that and the clouds will help bring us back down about average again. However, it is short-lived. We'll go back upper 80s Tuesday, low to mid 90s as we head toward the end of next week. So things starting to heat right back up. And that'll bring us some additional pop-up storm chances as we head into next weekend. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with more right after this.
Well, thinking of hitting an air-conditioned movie theater this hot holiday weekend, David Daniel notes what's new in theaters in our Hollywood Minute.
Prepare for a close encounter on the big screen. Columbia Pictures is celebrating its 100th anniversary by re-releasing Steven Spielberg's director's cut of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The science fiction classic, which won an Oscar for cinematography, returns to theaters on Sunday, July 7th and Wednesday, July 10th. Check fathomevents.com for locations and showtimes.
I'm unstoppable!
Despicable Me 4 is off to a strong start. The latest film in the franchise debuted Wednesday with an estimated $27 million in opening day ticket sales. Analysts are predicting a 5-day holiday weekend gross of $120 million. Meanwhile, the reigning champ, Inside Out 2, was expected to hit a milestone Thursday, reaching $500 million in domestic box office in just 21 days, the fastest of any animated film ever. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Well, a military hero reunion and a buried treasure that Mother Nature has revealed. Patrick Cornell has these stories in today's Take a Look at This.
Let's start with a heartwarming tale. U.S. Marine Corps Sergeant Isaac Weisand and Marine Corps veteran Dalton Stone met while serving as canine handlers in Japan 5 years ago. Weisand and his German Shepherd, Poker, worked together for 2.5 years as a certified explosives and patrol team, while Stone and Ada spent the same amount of time as a certified narcotics and patrol team. Unfortunately, in 2022, both were forced to say goodbye to their furry companions when they left Japan. But 2 years later, Weisand and Stone were informed that Poker and Ada would be retiring from service. Thanks to the 2016 National Defense Authorization Act, military dog handlers are to be told of their dog's retirement and given first rights to adopt. Both men immediately jumped at the chance to welcome them home. And thanks to American Humane, they did just that. The charitable organization stepped up to cover the extensive travel cost and logistics to get Poker and Ada to their new homes and will be covering all future veterinary costs as well. After a 1-week journey, the two pairs were reunited in Texas, and from the looks of it, our furry heroes will get the retirement they deserve. I'm not crying, you're crying. Okay, and finally, you've heard of sand castles, but what about a castle in the sand? Well, feast your eyes on this. An old giant castle that was once buried under sand dunes on the Outer Banks of North Carolina has been revealed thanks to time and shifting sands. The castle was built in 1978 and stands 8 to 10 feet tall. It was part of a collection of structures that made up a mini golf course before Mother Nature took over. For Take a Look at This, I'm Patrick Cornell.
Certainly an incredible discovery. Stick around, we'll be right back. A 6-month-old lion cub steps into her new home in a South African sanctuary after she was rescued from the wildlife trade in Lebanon. Freya will now reside at the Drankenstein Lion Park and will never live as a lion in the wild again. Her rescuers are hopeful she will bond with another young male cub named Pi, who they believe is her brother. Despite taking in lions from around the world, with many that have horrific backstories of abuse, animal welfare groups are raising the alarm to South Africa's thriving lion business. A new study has revealed some interesting facts about the humble hippopotamus. Researchers looked at videos of 32 hippos and found that they can get airborne when moving at high speeds. Many other animals are known to lift all 4 limbs off the ground while running. So you may ask, how could we not know that about hippos? Well, since they spend most of their time in the water, tend to be aggressive, and are most active at night, studying them isn't easy. They generally only move fast when they are chasing a rival hippo or a predator is chasing them. Researchers also noticed hippos almost always trot.
I must be a hippo then. That must be it. I must be a hippo because I run from predators. Well, I can go airborne if I run fast enough.
I always knew someone needed to study you.
Well, and I'm active at night. You know, I'm up at 2:30 in the morning, so. And I do not spend time in water, though. I can't swim, so I don't spend any time in water. Today, good day to spend some time in the water, and it's going to heat up as we head into the weekend. Nice day out there. Variable clouds through the morning, low 80s by 11 o'clock this morning. Our temperatures, believe it or not, technically that much below average. We haven't said that in quite some time. We're looking at mid-80s and partly cloudy skies as we head into the afternoon. Skies will begin to clear by the late afternoon and through the evening hours. We'll have a passing cloud or two as we go overnight tonight. And check out those low temperatures. Another pleasant evening ahead for us as we fall back, most of us, into the mid-60s. About 90 tomorrow, so a little warmer, plentiful sunshine out there. Pop-up storm chances Sunday into Monday, and with a few more clouds on Monday, I'll bring our temperatures back down. So we heat up by Sunday, come back down briefly. And then as we head through the rest of next week, as you can see, temperatures get to be relatively uncomfortable again. We're going to see the return of the mid-90s, maybe even some upper 90s as we head into next weekend. And the only relief we're going to see is just an opportunity for a stray pop-up storm or two as we head into next weekend as well. So again, today, a great day. If you have a 4-day weekend, get out there, enjoy it before it heats up again across the area. That's a check of your forecast. We have a whole nother hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.